Hey, it is Saturday morning and today is going to be shot day. If you're new here, my name is Pamela and I am on a weight loss journey using compounded tirzepatide injections. And if you're not new here, you know that Friday is normally shot day. And I don't know, yesterday I just wasn't feeling it. Yesterday was one of those days. I normally work 5 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. and yesterday I didn't get off until 5 o'clock in the evening, so like a 12-hour day, which I work from home, so yeah, what am I doing? Sitting at a desk all day. But my job is very mentally stressful, and yesterday was just one of those days. I had a provider who was not very happy about an email that I sent, and yeah, I just was really drained after I got off work yesterday. I thought about giving my injection and I just really didn't feel like it. So I'm giving it today. I'm doing 4.5 milligrams, which is not one of the regular doses. Normally on tirzepatide injections, you go from 2.5 to 5, but 5 was a little bit much for me. I just did not want to eat at all. And so I went back down to 3.5 milligrams and I still felt a little bit of the food noise. So I kind of bumped it up just a tad bit and I'm at 4.15, which I think is a good spot for me. I'm gonna stay there for now and we'll see how that continues to go. So I've already washed my hands. I've got my tirzepatide vial and I'm just cleaning off the top and I'll let that dry while I prep my syringe. So 25 units is where we're at for the 4.15. So I just have air in here, which I will inject into the vial when I draw out the medication. So I'm going to place this right down in the center of the vial and push the air in. I will draw it back to the 25 and that looks perfect. There's no air bubbles, maybe a teeny tiny one. Get that up at the top and as you can see, we are halfway between the 20 and the 30. Last week we did lower left abdomen. Today I'm going to do upper right abdomen, which will be right above my navel. And just do this to right here. So we'll do right about here. So let me get a fresh alcohol swab. And several people I know are scared of the injections. This is already dry. I'm just going to inject it in. The needle is very little. I did feel it that time, just a slight pinch. It doesn't hurt. And the medication is in. All right, I am back. I've cleaned up, put my medication back in my refrigerator. First, I'm gonna get into my weigh-in, get right into that, get it out the way. My starting weight on my GLP-1s was 196.9 on November 22nd of 24. Last week, I weighed in at 176.6. And even though today is Saturday, I did do my weigh-in yesterday. So my official weigh-in is still the same day, and I'm gonna catch up this week and get back on track on my Fridays. My official weigh-in for this week was 176.6. Yes, I did not lose, I did not gain. I stayed at 176.6 for my official weigh-in. Now I will say this is why I track my weight every single day. Even though I don't officially document my weight for my weigh-ins every day, I do get on the scale every day just because I want to see how I'm progressing. And this week I did go down. I went down to, I think, 175.5 was the lowest. And then it just kind of fluctuates. And you know your weight fluctuates from day to day anyway. And that's why a lot of people say don't get on the scale. But I like to see, because if I just got on the scale last Friday and saw 176.6 and I got on the scale again yesterday and saw 176.6, I would be like, what the heck? I did good this week. Why did it not go down? But knowing that your weight fluctuates and knowing that I actually went down to 175.5 and then just back up to 176.6, I feel a little bit better. So for me, now this may not work for everybody, but for me, that's motivation. So even though I did not gain or lose this week, I'm still on track. I'm still at 20.3 pounds down from my starting weight, which was my goal for ending January. I wanted to make sure that I had hit at least 20 pounds down, and I did. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so now that we've got all the weight stuff out the way, I'm going to weigh in on my topic for this week, which is why I started my GLP-1 journey. I've struggled with my weight. I was always skinny growing up. I was the skinny kid. My friend across the street used to always say, oh, you so skinny, girl, you need to eat. And so I had the reverse mentality, I guess, of what I have now, that I need to lose weight. I was always like, I need to gain weight. Well, in my mid-20s, started gaining weight. I was about 107 pounds before I had my first daughter. And I had my first daughter at 18. After I had her, I got back down to 110 pounds. So I was fairly skinny. Now I'm 5'2" for reference, so not very tall. I was fairly on the thin side, but you know, I still had my little curves. I had it going on. I wasn't, you know, I was cute. At least I thought I was cute. Girl, I was cute. Okay, so anyway, fast forward 9 years later, when I had my son, I gained a whole lot of weight. Now, by the time I got pregnant with my son, I was probably about in the 150s, I think. And with him, I gained 80 pounds. So I got up to about 230 pounds when I was pregnant with him. And I had some complications with my pregnancy. I was pre-diabetic. I had preeclampsia. It was a lot. So after I had him, I did lose some of the weight, and I think I got down to about 165. And then couple years later, got pregnant with my daughter. With her, I was so sick at the beginning that I actually lost weight when I was first pregnant with her. So with her, I got up to about 200, maybe 210. And then 3 years later, had my last daughter. And with her, about the same thing, probably 215 maybe. You know, it always creeps up just a little bit. So after I had her, I got back down to about 165, 170. And that's kind of where I maintained for a few years, was right around that 165, 170 mark. Because I remember when I started working for the company that I work for now, I was around 170 pounds. And that was back in 2007. I worked in a call center. You know, you pretty much chained to your desk by the telephone cord. This was the first job that I had that was like that. You know, I've worked at a grocery store where you're on your feet all day. I've worked at a hospital where you're pretty much on your feet on and off all day. I worked at Walgreens where you're on your feet all day. And I was an assistant manager, so I wasn't just standing at the cash register. I was moving around, stocking shelves, moving stuff, doing all kinds of stuff. So most of my jobs that I had throughout my life up until this point, I was on my feet and I was doing a lot of moving around. So I wasn't just sitting at a desk all day. Within about 5 years or so, I had put on a decent amount of weight. So I think by then I had probably gotten up to about 200 pounds. That's about when I turned 40. And right before I turned 40, I had a health scare. I was at work. I was feeling so bad. I didn't know, but my friend told me that I had a ruptured blood vessel in my eye, and I was feeling so sick that I could not even drive myself home. My boss had to let my friend off to take me home, and I ended up going to the doctor. My blood pressure was sky high, and I ended up having to get put on blood pressure medication. They say once you turn 40, everything starts going downhill. That's pretty much what happened. Doctor was like, you need to lose some weight. Okay, yeah, let's do that. You know, I'm gonna do that. So got my blood pressure under control. was doing what I could to lose weight, working out at home, went on Phenermine. And Phenermine, woo boy, that took the weight off. I was doing Phenermine and low carb. I was losing weight. But at the same time, no one ever talked to me about nutrition. When I was taking Phenermine, I wasn't really eating. I would have a granola bar in the morning for breakfast. I would have an apple for lunch. And I would have like maybe something small to eat for dinner. Whatever I made for the kids, I would just eat whatever they were eating, minus if there was potatoes or rice or, you know, some other starch, pasta, whatever. I would just eat the meat and the vegetables, which sounds okay, but I was not tracking any calories. I was not making sure I was eating enough. I just knew that I wasn't that hungry, so I wasn't eating that much. No big deal. I was losing weight. I was happy. I got down. I'm going to put a picture in because I was skinny. I was standing there. My little arm was so small and I was just cut. So I was happy with that. But guess what? Once I came off that Phenermine, that appetite came back, and so did the weight. And then I started going up. Not, you know, I wasn't just 200 pounds. I was like 215. Like, okay, I need to do something. And then about 2015 is around the time that I found keto. And I was like, okay, I can do this. I like meat. I'm a big meat eater now. I'm a big potatoes and rice eater too. My family's from Louisiana, so you know we eat rice with almost everything. You can eat rice for breakfast. I was like, I'm gonna do this. When I started keto, I was at 238 pounds and I got down to 165 pounds. But I also had motivation too, because we had a trip to Jamaica planned. And I was like, when I go to Jamaica, I'm gonna be cute. I'm gonna lose this weight and I'm gonna come out there and I'm gonna look good. So I had motivation. I lost that weight. I got down to 165 and I was feeling pretty good about myself. Went on the trip, did not stay keto on the trip, which I knew I was not going to, because I was like, we're gonna be drinking. There's gonna be all this food. I'm gonna eat like the Jamaicans eat. Yeah, man. I ate that food and I was feeling so good. I loved it. We had such a good time. Came back, got home and looked down and my ankles, I swear, were this big. All the fluids that my body was releasing during keto, and then to go off keto. And also, you know, when you get on the plane, I don't know what it is about being that high up in the altitude that your body just starts pulling all that water to the surface. I don't know, but it's something with the being on a plane that it can cause your ankles to swell anyway. So I had gained 10 pounds on that trip, and I know a lot of it was fluid because my body was not used to having the foods that I ate while I was on that trip. So my body was like, and it's holding on to all these fluids. So of course I lost some of that over the next couple of days, but I never got back onto keto. I would try to dabble in it here and there and never really got back fully keto. So in about 2018, I went for my annual checkup with my doctor, and she said my heart rate was a little elevated and she kind of heard some arrhythmias, and so I had to get an ECG. Now the ECG was normal, but she was like, let's just kind of keep an eye on that, because you know it is still a little concerning. It may be nothing, but just keep an eye on it. And then she was like, of course you could lose some weight, your blood pressure, you know, my blood pressure was maintaining like right on the borderline of being high with the medication, of course. And so, you know, trying to lose weight on and off, and I'd lose a few pounds, gain a few pounds, lose a few pounds, gain a few pounds. So April of 2021, we lost my dad. And it was on my brother's birthday, my oldest brother. My dad passed away on his birthday. So my brother flies in. My brother lived in California. When I picked him up, he looked totally different than what I remembered. And while he was here for my father's funeral, he ended up in the hospital for a few days, and he was retaining a whole lot of fluid. And we don't know what was going on with him. We don't know if he knew what was going on with him. He says they couldn't find out what was wrong, but we have our suspicions. My brother was a very heavy drinker from a very young age, and he was 58 at the time. After my dad's funeral, my brother went home, and of course, this was in April. On Mother's Day, my brother did not call my mother, text her, or anything, and so she thought that was weird. So my sister was checking on him, and we ended up finding my brother deceased in his apartment. So losing my father and my brother back to back just kind of made me take another look at my health. And at my father's repast after the funeral, there were some pictures taken, and I'll put a picture in. When I look back at this picture, this is the heaviest I've ever been. I was 240 pounds in this picture. And when I look at that picture, I'm just disgusted with myself. And I don't even look like me to me. That's not who I saw when I would look in the mirror. So there's really, I think there's sometimes can be a disconnect, or you know, they say body dysmorphia, or, and I don't know if that's really the term for it, but when you look at yourself in the mirror and you see one thing, but then you look at a picture of yourself and you see what you really look like to the world around you, and it's not what you see when you look in the mirror. But that picture was a wake-up call to me that you have really just let yourself go. And of course, with losing my father and my brother, it was just all at the same time, just made me realize you need to do something. So it was at that time that I decided that I was going to start really trying to get to a healthy weight. And that's when I joined the program at work and started taking metformin and the naltrexone, and I think they added the topiramate a little bit later. And I did lose a little bit here and there. I didn't stay on it because I didn't like the medication, came off of it, and that was the first time. Did program twice. Sometime in between all of this, I had got on bupropion from my doctor's office to try to lose weight as well. And because I told it, every time I would talk to somebody about my weight, I would tell them I'm always hungry. I just feel like I'm always hungry. I can eat a full meal and then I'm still hungry, and I don't know why. And it's like, that's the thing that's hindering me, is I feel like I'm always hungry. Keto was the only thing that ever took away that appetite. But the problem with keto is once you stop, your body just, it's basically, sugar is an addiction. I do believe that with keto, you take away that sugar and your body is like, yes, this is good. We can do this. We don't need that sugar. But you give it one little taste of sugar and your body's like, ooh, I remember that feeling. That felt good. Give me some more. Just a little bit. I'll be fine. Just give me a little bit more. And then you give it a little bit more and your body's like, yes, give me a little bit. You can do just one more bite. Just one more bite. And it one bite turns into the whole cake. So, of course, my weight went up and down. Because I would try to do keto and I would stop, and then I would gain the weight back, and I would do keto, I'd lose some weight, and I would stop and I would gain the weight back. And I was just, again, I was always hungry. I always wanted sweets. So I tried to go back on the weight loss program through my job and got on the medication again, and topiramate just really had me knocked out. I could not do it. The topiramate put me down. I was on the couch for a week. I could not function. I felt like I was going to die. And at that point, I said, I'm never taking this again. So I stopped the weight loss program through my job. And I really liked the program because we had our nurse practitioner that we would meet with every few months to make sure we're maintaining our medication and getting, our prescription refills. But then we had a dietitian that I would meet with monthly, that I would talk about my goals and implementing my exercise routine and my food choices and how I'm doing, how much water I'm drinking. I mean, we talked about all of that. And this was the first time that I really talked about setting healthy goals on a consistent basis. And the program was good. I'm not knocking the program. The program was good if you're not somebody who struggles with the disease of obesity, where you're constantly hungry. And I think that was the problem, is it's not about making choices when your body is telling you, you need this, you need to eat, and you just ate, Your mind will tell you logically you don't need to eat, but your body is saying, yes, you do need to eat. Some people may not understand that. If you do not have the disease of obesity, you may not understand how that works. But it's a real thing. And it's not just mind over matter. Because in my mind, I would say I'm not going to eat. But when your stomach is growling and you feel like it's caving in on itself, you think, well, I am hungry. I gotta be hungry. My stomach is growling. Yeah, I just ate, but my stomach is feeling like I need to eat more. So you eat more. All right, so fast forward. I stopped doing the weight loss program through my job. And I was going to try to lose the weight the natural way, as people would say, through healthy food choices and exercise. And I was meal prepping, and I didn't necessarily want to do keto, but I was trying to just do keto to jumpstart, and then I was gonna gradually add in some carbs. And I was tracking my food. I was working out 6 days a week, and the scale just really wasn't moving. At this point, I was about 185 pounds. And around July of 24, I was gonna take a break from the gym. And yeah, that break turned into, I have not been back since. We're in January, folks. By the time I started on my GLP-1 journey, I was 196.9, as most of you know. So about 10 pounds that I had gained. And I decided at that point that I just could not continue to manage my weight on my own without some type of assistance. And so far on this journey, I've been on this journey for a little over 3 months now, and I've lost 20 pounds, and I'm very happy with that. I'm gonna put a new picture up for comparison to the picture that I was so disgusted with myself. And I know we should love our bodies and love ourselves, but there's nothing wrong with loving who you are, but wanting to be a healthier version of yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's where I'm at right now. That is my journey. It's not that I don't love who I am. I don't love the body that I've created for myself. And I want to recreate that body into something that is healthier and can help me to live a longer and healthier, happier life. I have 4 kids and I have 2 grandkids now, and I want to be around to see them grow up. Well, my kids are grown. My youngest is 21 now, but I want to see my kids get married. I want to see my grandkids grow up, graduate, get married, and hopefully see them have kids of their own one day. So if you're still with me and you've watched all the way to this point, you're really a trooper. Because I know I've been rambling, and a lot of this is going to end up on the editing floor, as they say. But I really just wanted to share why I started my journey and what my goal or passion is with this. And I didn't really share my goal, but my goal is just to be a healthier version of me. And do I plan to come off this medication? No. Do I hope that it becomes more affordable so that I can stay on this medication? Yes. But my thought is, once I get to my goal, titrate down to a level that I am able to maintain and continue on the injections probably for the remainder of my life until I can no longer inject myself with them. I don't know. Hopefully by then they'll have the pills that you take once a month. But yeah, that's why I started my journey, and that's why I'm going to continue on this journey. I'll put in a picture of my family here, because they're my reason. And if you're on a weight loss journey, drop me a note in the comments. What is your reason for your weight loss journey, and what keeps you motivated? And I'll be back next week with a new topic.